Good evening and welcome to rounds 7, 8 and 9 of the Team Horney Racing GT Sport Hot Hatch Championship. This week we've got another 3 rounds coming to you from Sardegna, Road Track B, the legendary Spa-Francorchamps and Blue Moon Bay Speedway Infield A. As usual, we've got a 10-minute practice session, a 5-minute quali and a 10-minute race for you for each one of those rounds. We're just watching a little bit of extended practice running before the main event at 8:30. So we've just joined a little bit of track action from our track feed here, just to get a bit of cars and just to get a feel for really what's going on and what we can expect from the vehicles this time out. In this practice session, you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of slowdown penalties with the competitors really just trying to feel their way around and just find out where the track limits are and where they can't make up a little bit of time by using a lot of curb. In some cases, as you can see there, a little bit of gravel. Luke Davies here, back again in the Clio V6. I'm hoping for another confident run out this week. Perhaps didn't quite have the pace and consistency of Edwards and Coates last week. Suffered some spins. Just maybe struggling with the rear-driven nature of the car. But I believe he's put in quite a bit of practice time over the week, so we're hoping to see some good things from Luke, who we know is quick. It's just whether that consistency can come back to him. Nice to see Richard Kay being able to join us here this evening, not being detained at work, although perhaps he wishes he was after that attempt there at the penultimate corner, just getting his eye back in the big Clio. There's our championship organiser, Nick Horn again, out in the Cooper S. Nick revealed to us Season 3's lineup. And it's going to be the Mazda MX-5 touring car, so I think a lot of people are looking forward to that after the hot hatches. Some of our drivers not enjoying the front-wheel drive nature of some of these machines, so it'd be nice to get back into a rear-wheel drive car. And word is that the MX-5 round championship for next season is going to be all the power turned up. They're going to be some serious weapons, sequential boxes, limit slips, all the usual kind of trimmings. So we should see some great racing there. Nick just really pushing there into the braking zone. I mean, he's not going to make the apex. That wasn't to be expected. But just pushing the car, just finding the limits. Obviously eager to be competitive. Right out to the grass as well, into the braking zone for turn 5. Just trying to be patient to get the power on, stop the car scrubbing wide. Jack Edwards here, out in the ever-fast orange Clio V6, using all the road, and really aggressive and a bit deep there. But no, Jack's been consistently quick through this championship. It's been impressive. Him and Sam Coates have really been at it, hammer and tongs at the front. Here is Sam Coates, the fantastic Trump liveried Clio V6, a new livery for this week, the fake news livery adorning his car. He's hoping again for another great bit of racing this week. Him and Edwards really pushing themselves and each other last weekend, especially. We had a cracking race at Imola, right down to the wire, and we really thought it was going to be a photo finish. And I'm sure Sam is really looking forward to getting back at it with Edwards, and just to settle some scores really, and show Jack that he is more than capable. John Gamston, back this week in the little DS3. Got a cracking little elf livery running this week. Everyone's actually up to their livery game this week for these rounds 7, 8 and 9. And John really doing some astonishing things with this little car. The pace he's been able to get out of it has been welcome back. We had slight technical issues down here in the southwest. We've got a terrible amount of rain, and we've had a couple of power cuts just during that practice session. So fingers crossed we stay fully powered for the remainder of this evening, and hopefully Southern Electric are doing a great job in keeping us juiced up. So we're still in the 10 minutes practice session here at the Sardegna track. As in the background there, that's well, this is of course Sam Coates in the new livery, as I was saying before, and hoping to see some good things for him today. Nick Horn, championship organiser in the Cooper S. And Jack Edwards. Accurate, clean driving style there we're seeing from Jack. I'm sure he's going to prove me wrong on the next corner. Look at that. That's a fantastic line. Back of the car getting a little bit loose on the exit of that turn, but very much staying on it. He's looking for got 3 seconds to make up, so he's obviously had some offs in this practice session, and probably just looking for a little bit of time just to see where he lies against the likes of Coates, Gampston and Horn, who all 3 of those are currently ahead of him. I'm expecting this lap though to be an improvement as he comes through the final chicane and heads for the line. Let's see what Edwards can manage. And it is quicker. It's still nearly a second away from Coates though. So Sam Coates here doing a fantastic job at putting in some great times here at the Sardegna track. Just a couple of minutes away from qualifying now. Expect the cars to come in at some point and refresh the boots before heading out for the 5-minute qualifying session. We're here at, as I say, the Sardegna road track course, and we're actually on the B layout, 3.9 kilometres. It's made up of closed public roads and a nice variety of corners here, some very tight stuff, good elevation change, and some big sweepers, and as you can see, stunning mountains in the background are certainly easy to be distracted by if the scenic views are something that you enjoy. Jason Perry in the Focus ST. Unlikely car for this. You can see just struggling a bit there with understeer, but again the Clio behind him also. That's Andreas in the V6, also struggling for a little bit of front end grip. The V6, popular car in this little championship. Richard Kay not working this evening, so he's able to join us, which is fantastic to have him back out. A little bit battered on the front of that Clio, but that won't be slowing him down. Okay, so just waiting for the qualifying to start, and then we will join the track action again. And so as I say, 5 minutes for qualifying. We're looking to see some impressive times here, expecting sort of the likes of Edwards, Coates, Gampston to be right at the top. So let's join the guys back on track. Sam Coates, first out, making good use of a bit of clean air here. So he's hoping to not get caught up in the scrabble for a clean run further down the order. The guys leaving the pits slightly later. Especially in these big Clios, it's really not so much of an issue with the slipstream. In an underpowered car, you might want to get and tuck in with someone down a big straight. We've got nearly a kilometre long back straight here, so that can really be beneficial if you can be tucked in behind someone. That really can help improve your time. But I mean, Coates looks clean and tidy straight out of the box on this outlap. Certainly looking to be a force to be reckoned with. Right behind him on the road, Jason Perry, looking to be one of the top front wheel drives, because, you know, as we've sort of found out in these first few rounds, it really is the Clio V6s that hold the top spots in a lot of the races. So it's kind of like a best of the front wheel drive as well. But we would love to see a front wheel drive snatch a win, and I'm hoping that we might see that tonight. Andreas there. Again, another Clio V6. John Gampston in the mighty DS3. Hoping to be one of those top running front wheel drives this evening. Nick Horn, the big climb for the Mini, just using that grunt of that supercharger to pull him up the hill and into the left-hander. just really keeping it pinned through here, just to try and not lose any momentum. But there, you see, that's the price you pay for trying to keep the power on. The car running incredibly deep. And across the line, Nick's going to go. Let's see where he's going to slot in here. Is he going to count as a time? He is. He's going to go third. 4.1 off the pace. But of course, that's Sam Coates' pace, which is fiendishly quick. Large in the Clio. Coming to the line. Certainly going to get another lap in here. We've had some rounds where only one lap was possible, and that's really been a very a hot lap situation, and a lot of penalties, times literally lost, and some of the top runners with just a simple corner cut, suffering such a penalty that they were right down the order. So it's important to get a banker in with, if you can get a couple of laps, get something on the table, and then go from there really, and really push it on the second time round. Luke Davies in the gravel, which is not a great place to be, and not quite sure why that is. Edwards 1.1 off Coates. He's definitely going to be looking for a quick time here. Just going to come through this final sweeping left-hander. Power down. It's looking clean and tidy from Edwards. And there's the checkered flag. He's not snatched that. Just waiting for some results. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these times here then. So Sam Coates, a 1:34.1, fantastic run. And Jack Edwards, 1.1 off. Half a second behind him, Luke Davies. So it's those top three Clios that are really sitting proud there. So let's go down to the grid and catch the start. It's a good start by all the front five Clios there. The front wheel drive car's just suffering slightly, but it's Edwards looking to on the outside of Coates coming into turn one, and here comes Davies, and it's a bold move, but it's worked. So it's Davies from Edwards from Coates. Coates muscling through. He's got the inside line there. He's going to keep that. Fourth place, Andreas. So it's Davies just keeping ahead. Just keeping ahead of Coates, and Edwards dropping back to third. That breakaway 5 cars, the V6 Clios, already making a move to pull away from the rest of the pack there. But it's the front wheel drive lot are tussling heavily here. Gamston from Large from Horn, and Perry in the ST at the back, hoping to make up for a slightly disappointing start. But it's all clean racing. It's still Davies from Coates. They've gapped Andre. Where has Edwards gone? He's dropped back to 5th. This isn't good. Edwards, one of the championship contenders, and look at the way he's pushing that through that final sector. He's obviously looking to get straight back on terms with the front runners, and he's touched straight into the slipstream of Kay. Surely he's going to make a move down into turn 1. It's round the outside. I don't know if that's going to work for him. Lopez, deep, hard. That didn't work for Lopez, but it has worked for Jack Edwards. Has made that stick, and that's fantastic. He can see the 2 in front clearing off, and he cannot let them go. Coates and Davies, and Coates managed to sneak past there with a slightly boisterous pass. I'm sure the favour will be shortly returned. Lap 2 of 8. This is already turning into a great race. So it's Clio V6, and the top 4 are all Clio V6s. But then it's John Gamston in the Elf livery DS5, and he's hoping to stick that Citroen in the top 4, and he's managed it. Daz coming onto the back straight. He's very, very wide. He's going to lose a run there. Surely Kay is going to get the toe down here and be able to. And he's, of course, a penalty for running wide. Kay inching past in the big Clio into the braking zone. Gamston, and that just holding on there. But Andreas is really getting himself included in the mix there, and round the outside of Gamston and round the inside of Kay. An incredible lunge through there. That was a very impressive line, and he's managed to hold it, and looks like he might be able to make a little bit of a break here. Back at the front, Sam Coates has looked like he's gapped Luke Davies now, 1.7 seconds. So really showing he is a class act once again, despite the livery on his Clio. He is really showing everyone how it should be done. Edwards there, just honing in on Davies, nibbling away. On board with Edwards, looking to find a little bit of time here and there. Just getting unsettled out onto the back straight, desperately trying to tuck into the slipstream of Luke Davies, and it's working. You can see us just closing down now. Surely not round the outside. That's not going to happen. No, it's not. Looking back at Edwards now. On board. 136.089 for Davies. A 135.4 for Edwards. So you can see he is that much quicker. But it's one thing to catch, of course. It's another thing to pass. Look at the extra amount of road that Jack Edwards is using here. Using all of the alternative track tarmac. And then down into this heavy braking section. You get this right and drive up the hill. Look at, and he's taken tenths of seconds out of Luke Davies on that section there. This is we're looking to line up a pass here. Surely it's only a matter of time. Lap 4 of 8. Coming back onto this sweeping left-hander. Just trying to get the run. It looks like Edwards might have been able to tuck in here. There could be a challenge into turn 1. It's a big stopping zone. Davies goes defensive. Has to. Edwards round the outside. Can he cut back? Oh, and that is a beautiful pass there. I think he's going to be able to hold it with the inside line through turn 4. The gap now, though, 4.4 seconds out to Coates. I think second is probably the best that Edwards is going to be able to manage here. Back with Kay. Perry from Kay from Horn, from Large. This little foursome here just really duking it out. Kay looking. Just ahead of them, of course, is Gamston and Andreas. If Richard Kay can keep this Clio going in a straight line, he may have a chance to get a run here on Jason Perry. And a big moment in the background, Nick Horn very wide, and that's let Large through in the Clio. So back at the front, 5.8 seconds now. Lap 6. Sam Coates putting on a fantastic performance here from the front row. It's not over till it's over, but this is looking like a very strong performance. Edwards, 3 seconds now. Back to Davies. But this is where a little bit of action here. John Gamston pressing hard in the DS3, really hoping to get a front wheel drive into the top 4. 1:35.6. And look, he's making up a lot of time. The light Citroen really does brake well. Those front tyres really struggling for traction and grip. And you can just see on these long sweeping corners, the rear wheel drive car can just get into just a slight slide and really just drive through the corner, whereas the front wheel drive cars are having to just be a little bit patient or just risk running out wide. Here it is though. Here's a run down into turn 1. And Gamston surely is going to make this stick. Oh, and it's Andreas closing the door, but surely that's not going to work. As long as Gamston keeps his foot in it, he's going to have the inside line for the next corner. And he's made that stick. Now, can he hold it? Lap 7 of 8. It's all still happening. Richard Kay and Jason Perry still in the same positions where we left them before. think Jason may be able to just hold off Richard here. Richard missing out last week due to work commitments. So just not having as much time in the car. But you can't say he's not trying. Look at the Clio squirming under braking. The drive it gets out of these sharp corners is really impressive. Perry though, no fool. He'll just be knowing that staying consistent, clean and tidy is what he needs to do. And Gamston's again running wide on that final corner. Hopefully that's not going to cost him down into turn 1 as we go into the last lap. Nine seconds now. Sam Coates in a class of his own. Edwards obviously having a bit of a problem, which our cameras didn't actually be able to catch. So that's what's let Sam get away. I really thought that Edwards would have been able to stay with him, but even in qualifying, Sam was 1.1 seconds quicker. And sometimes a track just really suits a driver, and it just hooks up and works for them. Gamston now just starting to gap Andreas, which is fantastic. We're gonna see a front-wheel drive car in the top 4, which is not normal in this championship. There was a selection of cars to pick from a list that was given by championship organiser Nick Horn, and the Clio V6, I think everyone spent a lot of time testing a good few of them, and the Clio V6 was a strong favourite with some of the faster guys. So that's your lot. It's a win for Sam Coates, and very well deserved too. And it's going to be John Gamston who is going to take that 4th place. And with a celebratory handbrake application across the line. Fantastic. Really impressive drive there. Great to see the front wheel drive in the top 4. So let's take a look at those final results. It is Sam Coates, of course, over 10 seconds now in front of Jack Edwards at the line. Did pick up a little bit of a penalty there, so we're likely to have seen that even be a larger gap, to be honest. Luke Davies, so top 3 Clio V6s, which is not a surprise. But great to see the little 2011 DS3 of John Gamston up into 4th place there. Another pair of Clio V6s, and Richard Kay did manage to just snatch it away from Jason Perry. I mean, there's nothing in it at the line. 0.4, not even that, 0.04 of a second, and large. And Nick Horn, obviously having some difficulties there, just bringing up the back of the field in 9th. So we're just going to go for a short break, and then we're going to head off to Spa-Francorchamps, which could be a bit of a decider. Some fast corners there that are going to take some bravery, especially in the Clios, and we may see Spa being a bit of a leveler for these guys. We'll be back in 1. Just a little bit of an update. We are being told that we are to expect rain at Spa. So when I said it may be a bit of a leveller with the V6s, V6 Clios, I think we should definitely see that if the going's going to be wet. And there has been a lot of talk of starting. The front-wheel drive car's really suffering off the line. So I believe there's been a lot of talk about rolling starts and whether we should go to a rolling grid formation. So it's possible that we're going to see that at Spa this time out. Well, the forecasts were correct. It's definitely wet out there. You join us 11 a.m. in Belgium, and we're looking at Nick Horn in the Cooper S, looking for as much grip as he can possibly find. And after such a dry few weeks, I really can't. I can imagine it's going to be quite greasy out there. Sam Coates, Jason Perry, and Richard Kay coming into shot with a little bit of a wiggle on. The big Clios are incredibly sideways through here, and there we go. Look, there is Andreas just losing the back of the Clio. Thankfully, Gran Turismo Sport does have this ghosting feature. It really does help stop people's races being ruined. So that would have been a big impact for Perry through there if he'd have collected Andreas, but thankfully not. John Gampston making that little DS3 work. Spa, obviously one of the longer circuits, 7 kilometres. So we're probably going to see a few less laps than the 8 that we normally see. I'd imagine maybe around the 5 mark. Just really struggling to find out of La Source there. Incredibly tight corner and just trying to get the power down in the wet. John Gampston in the little Citroen, struggling and running a bit wide. Nick Horn in traffic. Really hoping to make amends for last time out. And Andreas again, well out of shape in the big Clio. And off goes Luke Davies. Really didn't see what happened there. big sideways moment for Andreas. Look at that, balancing it on the throttle. And I can confirm it is not 8 laps, it's a 4-lap race. Bit of a shame if you ask me. 5 would have been nice, especially in these tricky conditions. We could have seen a really different outlook on things. So let's just get ready on this incredibly bizarre screen that I've managed to pause it on, and let's see what's happening out on track. So 4 minutes and 37 seconds, 35, 44, 33 seconds left of this qualifying session. Look at the pace through here. And that is clean from Jason Perry. Fantastic. Everyone rushing out because obviously it's a long lap and they're all hoping to maybe try and get 2 laps in. Trail braking there, right into the apex is Perry. Coates just looking for a bit of clean air. Edwards and Richard Kay. Stunning shot here. As you can see the cars sweep through. Edwards backing the car in, just allowing the weight of the mid-mounted Clio to swing the car into the corner. Let's just take a look at the traction from Edwards' car. A bit moving around, just trying to get the power down. And oh, there's a big moment there. This is only qualifying, chaps. Sam Coates getting caught up, trying to pass Jason Perry. In reality there, Perry not really putting a foot wrong. It was a faster guy that should have his responsibility to make the pass clean. Nick Horn getting the blue flag. I'm not sure who from, because I don't think Richard Kay's on a particularly quick lap, and he's very, very wide through there. It'd be very interesting to see how the times are going to fare through here. I think it's very much a case of just stringing a lap together in the wet, and if you can make it work for you and not get caught in someone else's accident, you'll be looking for a good grid position. Again, as I said, rolling starts. As we look down towards the bus stop. Nick in the Cooper S, hard on the brakes. Nicely stopped. And across the line. Of course, that is just our out lap. Right, Edwards down through the bottom of Eau Rouge. A little bit of grass there, hasn't seemed to upset the car. Perry in the background. Large in the Clio. Really looking forward to seeing some of these times and just seeing if the field's going to be mixed up at all, simply by the fact that these big Clios aren't going to be able to get the power down in the wet. They still sound great though.
Andreas braking before the 150. Probably quite wise in these conditions. And clipping the little bollards on the inside of the turn. Just balancing the car. Look at that. Sometimes you have to be aggressive with these just to get the front to turn in. Richard Kay in the blue Clio. With John Gampston hot on his heels. Bit of a moment, but keeping it balanced. But Gampston's right there. He's going to be held up on this lap. He's not going to be pleased with that. Maybe he can just tuck in and get a tow. Might make up for the for being held up by the big Clio. And finally Kay makes a little mistake and Gampston can get through. Let's just see if see how John gets the power down in the Citroen. Up ahead, Nick Horn and Large, Clio and Mini Cooper S. And John Gampston's closing in. We're likely to see Gampston hopefully getting a really solid, reasonable time. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we might have a front-wheel drive car on pole position. And we certainly do. John Gampston at the last minute. I don't think there's anyone left to run that is going to bother John. No, Andreas, no. Luke Davies, no. 319. This is set to be an interesting race. So let's take a look at these then. I stand corrected. Sam Coates. Where did that time come from? At the last minute, he stuck it on pole position. I really thought we were going to have a front-wheel drive car on pole, but it's unfortunately it's not happened today. Drivers are lining up on the grid. Obviously, as I said before, a rolling start here, and let's go down and join the action. Sam Coates leading away, and Jack Edwards 4th position. It just seems strange seeing him there, especially after qualifying. And Gampston suffering on the cold wets. That's going to give Perry a bit of a run on him. Sam Coates though, 3.3 seconds in front already, as the two little front-wheel drive cars start to really tussle it out. They've got to be careful though, because Jack Edwards is going to be closing them down if they're not careful. Perry having a little look, but thinking better of it, probably best. Sam Coates, 3.2 seconds. And already we're seeing people picking up a few little penalties here and there. on board with Jason Perry. John Gampston out in front, and look, there is Jack Edwards behind. With these rolling starts races, the having a little look there, thinking better of it. Still a good few laps to go, and nearly getting caught. Is that surely not a spin? No. Oh. I really thought Jack Edwards had overcooked it there. Perry looking round the outside of Gampston. Surely can't make that stick, but you know, it's offline, out of the rubbered in section of the track, and he's made it work. Fantastic. So it's Coates from Perry, from Gampston, from Edwards. Just having to be careful with the throttle application in the rear wheel drive Clios. It's very easy to get the car unsettled and make a little bit of a fool of yourself. Gampston though, surely this is a run on Perry. He's looking. I think he's up the inside. He's done it. Running a little bit wide. Just trying to keep that DS3 in check, but he's very wide there, heading up towards the bus stop. He's got to be careful he doesn't catch himself a penalty. And Edwards pounces. So it's Coates. 6 seconds clear now from Jason Perry. Jack Edwards. Back of the Clio moving around, but he's got the power hooked up and he's driven past before the line. Jack Edwards now up into second place. We are looking at seeing a front wheel drive car on the podium though, because 3rd, 4th and 5th are all front wheel drive cars, which is great news. As we thought, wet weather really being a leveller here at Spa. Two of the big Clios, Davies and Andreas, hard at it. Nick Horn, sadly some 9 seconds off Luke Davies. No doubt enjoying himself nonetheless. And behind in the back of shot we saw Richard Kay, very out of shape, but gathering it all back together. The big Clio's really moving around on this wet surface here at Spa. And Perry holding off Gampston. Just about. Three minutes 14.2 on that first lap. Gampston just finding a little bit of run, keeping it tighter. Should be able to get the power down a little bit here. Just closing in. But Perry is quick through this next section. He seems to find some time at the second half of the lap. Jack Edwards not making the break I thought he would. Seems to be very much favouring the dry weather in the big Clio. Davies and Andreas. Really expected to see more from Luke Davies this evening. You know, he was right up there in the last few rounds, really getting in the mix at Imola. But it's just not been a good evening for him. Not sure why that is. Obviously here, the front wheel drive car is slightly more suited. Gampston and Perry. This is the battle to watch here, because of course this is for the podium spot. Who will be the front wheel drive that makes it onto the podium to beat off so many Clio V6s. Oh, it's tight. It's fast through here, boys. Perry gives it up to Gamston. He'll be looking for the run. Tucking into the slipstream. I use the larger grunt of the Focus. He's looking. Surely he's not gonna go for that. Gamston seemed to be giving him a bit of space there. That's going to put him offline for the next corner. Gamston on the defensive, and Perry, where is he finding that traction? Almost all the way around the outside. That's not going to stay though. No. Perry's managed it. So it's Perry from Gamston from large. That's third, fourth and fifth. Jack Edwards pulling away now from this pairing. But Gamston, that is a textbook overtake. If he can keep that line tight and not let Perry cut underneath him, you can just see Perry there, left foot braking just to keep the front of the car in check. It's really wet out there. All of our drivers doing a fantastic job here today. Oh, that's a little mistake from Perry. That's a little mistake. That's going to have cost him. He's got to be careful here that Gamston doesn't just break the toe and the slipstream, because I feel like the little Citroen is a little bit more sure-footed in these conditions, and certainly through these sweepers coming up to the bus stop. John Gamston really seems to have the measure of Jason Perry's Focus. Into the bus stop chicane. We're going to be starting the last lap, and Perry's closing down heavily there. Can he stop it? He's managed to stop it. Fantastic work. 7 seconds now between Sam Coates out in the lead and this man, Jack Edwards, getting a little bit of a slide on. Fantastic car control. Not the easiest car to drive, especially in the wet. Let's take another look at that. Grabs a boot full of power and round she comes, but nicely kept in check. And that's John Gamston. He's received a 3/10 penalty there. How long is he going to go before he starts taking that penalty? It's the last lap, and it's for the podium. And of course, Jason Perry will be able to see that penalty above the roof of Gamston's Citroen. Jack Edwards there, just going out of shot. Perry, really lovely tight line through there. There's about a second in it. I don't think he's going to be close enough, especially the kind of pace that John Gamston can take in the run up to the bus stop. I think we might be seeing, but that's a mistake. That's a mistake under pressure, and that is giving Jason Perry a lot to think about. He's not as clean as he could have been through there though. John Gamston got away with that. Perry did not manage to capitalise on his mistake. We've got a penalty here for Andreas. Is that going to change the complexion for 7th? Because Richard Kay is hard on it. These Clio's really moving around. Having to be just so delicate on the throttle in these conditions. Kay is closing. Gap's under half a second now. And it looks like, yeah, John Gampston is going to do it. There is your winner, Sam Coates, from Jack Edwards. A well-deserved 2nd place from 4th, managing to gap the 2 front-wheel drive cars. And it is John Gampston from Jason Perry who make up the top 4. So a fantastic result there from John, managing to put the little Citroen onto the podium, and certainly a great thing to see. Not just a slew of Clio V6s at the front. So we're now just going to take a small break, I believe, and then we'll be back with some final action from round number 9.
Our drivers are just taking a 5-minute comfort break, and we'll be back with you shortly. Okay, that's our final broadcast race for this evening, as we're watching Jason Perry and Luke Davies tussling it out. We are here at Blue Moon Bay Speedway. We're running the Infield A layout configuration of the circuit, but it's a bit of a change. We've not been to a circuit with banked track before. So it'll be interesting as Luke Davies gets a little nudge there from Jason Perry. Thankfully, this is only practice. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers cope with the big, long, sweeping corners of the banked circuit. You can see Jason running it right out to the wall there. May see that the back in the dry, the V6 Clios, especially on these big straights, we may see them coming back into their own. And it's great to see this man back, Martin Syne. Always a quick man if he's racing. Again, in the Clio V6, another Clio V6, so quite a few of them in the field here. You might find that some of the small front wheel drive cars are a little bit outclassed on the banked section of the track, but actually there's a lot of tight corners here, and you know, if you can carry the speed that you've gained up on the banking through some of the more technical sections, we may see you know, the front wheel drives really being a nuisance and causing the rear wheel drive Clios some a little bit of heartbreak. So just see how this one pans out. Obviously we're in the 10-minute qualifier at the moment. Sound fantastic, these Clios. Nothing quite like a V6. Probably a straight 6 is one of my favourite engine sounds. Get yourself a lovely D-type Jag or something on the Mulsanne straight, obviously before chicanes were introduced. About 2 AM, I'm sure that was quite a noise on open pipes. Lots of cars, of course, for emissions reasons and fuel economy, going for the small compact turbocharged 4-cylinder these days.
Clio, of course, 20 years old now, this car. And certainly didn't have emissions at the front of their design brief. Nick Horn, hoping to see a little bit more of him in this race. Really struggled with a setup in the wet. Made some slight errors on the wet setup and did suffer for it. So we're hoping to see him back in the mix here at Blue Moon Bay. Richard Kate. Clio looking very second hand already, and we're only a few minutes into the practice session. I suppose if you're going to make some contact, best to get it out of the way in practice and get the pit crew on it before qualifying. Big impact there as you see the cars, the suspension compress as they go onto the banking. Who's that? It's our man Sam Coates there, sticking in a respective time. 0.6 in front of Jack Edwards. Bit of hitting the limiter coming out of that tight section. That'll cost him a few tenths. But yeah, using all the road, nice and clean. Look at that, inch perfect through there. Really, Sam proving he is a class act and a force to be reckoned with in this championship. I don't have the championship table in front of me at the moment, but there's some big, juicy 25 points that Sam's been accruing this week and last, much to the displeasure of Jack Edwards. Six and a half tenths is what Jack's got to find in this practice session. Always nice to, even in practice when it doesn't overly matter, it's always nice to put a good time in. Just makes you feel positive and gives you the confidence to push again for qualifying. Coates and Edwards locked in a bit of a battle at the top of the timesheets here. And it's John Gampston who, again, sitting in third place. Fantastic podium out at Spa a few moments ago, which I'm sure he'll be incredibly pleased with. All of the front-wheel drive cars feel somewhat like underdogs in this championship. And look at that. That is inch perfect from Gampston. Fantastic. Using every bit of track and therefore every bit of traction available in the little Citroen. And really unsettled coming off the banking, but he's managed to keep his track relatively well through there. And this is great. Luke Davies. We are seeing the kind of performance that we should have been seeing from Luke Davies here at Blue Moon. 1.5 seconds off the back of Sam Coates, but I'm sure there's time to be found from Luke. Looking to redeem himself after the last 2 rounds were a little bit of a disappointment. Richard Kay there suffering on the grass. And again, you can really see some of the potential in these drivers as they use all the road. It's obviously distinctly possible that Luke Davies just didn't like both of those previous tracks and it didn't suit his driving style. You know, there's a lot of different parts to making you go quick. You've got to like the car at the track. You know, different people's driving styles will of course suit different tracks and different cars. It may be that Luke is incredibly quick at Spa in a front wheel drive car, so you know, and it's just I thought he was going to spin that there, but nicely held as he clips the grass. And whilst I've been talking, John Gamston has put the DS3 in 3rd. This is looking incredibly tight. So here is Nick Horn. Let's ride along with Sam Coates as they're coming to leave the pits. 4 minutes on the clock, 4.5 minutes for this qualifier, and it's looking like the top 4 on your screen there: Coates, Edwards, Gamston, and Davies are looking like the 4 guys that really are going to be all battling for a front row start. Nick Horn hoping to redeem himself from the wet weather fiasco at Spa. To pan out. On board with Nick Horn. Luke Davies struggling a little bit with possibly a dodgy internet connection there. The car bouncing all over the track slightly. And this is a fast entry. Car really unsettled as it comes off the banking into this sweeping left-hander, and again bang hard up, the suspension taking an absolute hammering through there, and then there goes Luke Davies. He is not waiting for Nick Horn, that's for sure. Somewhat boisterous, but Nick's just got to keep the focus and stay on top of it, just get a banker in to this hairpin. He's closed right up there. It's like 2 slightly different lines. And a double left-hander here. And then hard on the throttle. Using all the road and a bit of the grass. running it out to the wall and getting the power down through the long sweeping final corner. And it's all going off behind, but it's Coates from Edwards at the moment. Jason Perry 3rd place, Luke Davies 4th. Luke Davies takes 3rd. Nick Horn 1.6 off pole, which isn't, it could be a lot worse. Obviously he's looking for a slightly cleaner lap this time round. Martin Sign 4th on the grid at the moment, looking to improve on that, but he's around a lot of traffic here, and as you can see, a lot of that traffic is not necessarily staying on the track. Through the sweeping hairpin, using all the road, he's closing right up on Gamston now. I'm hoping John's not going to cause too much of an issue for Martin. He's tucking in. Martin's going to be looking for that line, and he's using the slipstream there off the back of Nick Horn. If these guys can not be in the way, this is potentially a good run for Martin Sign. Let's see how we can do here. He's currently 4th. And he stays 4th. So it's Sam Coates from Jack Edwards, from Luke Davies, from Martin Sign. 4 Clio V6s in your top 4. Seconds left of qualifying. It looks like we might be getting another lap here. It certainly doesn't look like Coates and Edwards are slowing down. Gran Turismo sometimes adding an arbitrary amount of time for qualifying. No one can quite work out why. Coates and Edwards charging for the line. Is there going to be a shake up at the top? No, three tenths in it. Lots of respect between these two. We had some fantastic close racing at Imola last week, and it was incredibly clean. Always nice to see clean racing in a sim. You know, the consequences and of making contact and causing an accident aren't there like they are in real life, and it's very easy to get a bit carried away and not have such a concern for the and there's Jason Perry giving it a sideways moment. Not actually at the line there, which was an interesting approach to things. But let's take a look at the board. So we've got Sam Coates from Jack Edwards, from Luke Davies, Martin Sign back just to finish off and do round 9 here this evening. Great to have him back. And then, of course, it's John Gabson in the DS3 from Richard Kay, from Jason Perry. We're going to head down to the grid. A good start again by all the rear-wheel drive Clios. But it's Sam Coates that leads Jack Edwards, from Luke Davies, from Martin Sign. But Richard Kay has made an absolutely astonishing start. He's going to overtake Martin round the outside of turn 1. This is fantastic. But it looks like Jack Edwards is going to have a look here. He's edging alongside. He's on the line. Can he keep it in check? And it is. It's Jack Edwards from Sam Coates. Luke Davies now having a look up the inside. But no, has to tuck back in. Edwards But Luke Davies is going to take a look down into the hairpin. He's alongside Sam Coates. Sam Coates covering, taking the tight line. He's got to be careful here. Don't let Edwards get away. Come on, boys. There's no point fighting if it's just for second. It's Coates from Davies in second. And Edwards is just starting to edge out in the lead now. Martin Syme fourth. So your first 5 cars are all Clio V6s. We thought the fast flowing nature of this circuit up on the top banking would help the Clio V6s. And there is our whole field in one shot. We've got Nick Horn from Richard Kay. Richard Kay making an incredible start, but has dropped right back down to 8th position. So as we finish 7 laps here, as we start lap 2, it is Edwards from Coates, from Luke Davies, Martin Syme, Andreas, Jason Perry, Nick Horn in 7th place in the little Cooper S. And our podium position, John Gamston, is down in 8th. We really thought he was going to go well here. Sam Coates now really putting the pressure on Jack Edwards. A little bit of a love tap in the middle of that hairpin. Edwards covering line, but that's going to help Sam Coates get a drag onto this straight, and he's tucked in beside. No, it's behind. These two just starting to break away from Luke Davies. Coming onto the straight, Coates is looking to tuck into the slipstream of Edwards. Surely it's going to happen. He's got on the inside. But remember, this first turn, as you come off the banking, really unsettles the car. Oh, and there's huge contact. And it's cost Edwards. But it's really closed up. Luke Davies has really closed up on the pair of them now. Martin Syme just starting to drift off the back of these 3. Which is understandable. Obviously, not doing as much racing this week. They sweep through turn number 4. It's Coates from Edwards, from Davies, from Syme. Jason Perry, Focus ST in 5th, the first of our front wheel drive competitors. Edwards going deep there, slightly outbraking himself, and it's let Sam Coates gap him slightly. The gap's nearly a second now. Edwards has just got to keep calm and chip away at this. Luke Davies coming to spoil the party. A little bit of contact with the wall there, coming onto the penultimate corner. Perry from Gamston. Fantastic battle between these two we saw at Spa, and it's looking like Blue Moon Bay is going to give us a repeat of that battle. Gamston looking up the inside. There's Nick Horn, just waiting for the mistake, because there's likely to be contact between these two. They're so evenly matched in these 2 cars, and 2 very different cars as well. The ST, quite a big car, but obviously having a little bit of an attraction advantage. 2-litre engine in that compared to the 1.6 in the DS3, both turbocharged, of course. It looks like, yes, Luke Davies has managed to stay in front of Jack Edwards, but it is at the cost of losing time to the first place Sam Coates. Martin Syme and Andreas here, pushing on. Oh, a little bit of contact with the wall. Rubbing is racing, but look who's catching them. It is Jason Perry and John Gamston are closing down on the big V6 Clios. Slipstreaming left, right and centre going on here. Jason Perry is all over the back of Andreas. Nick Horn there, just biding his time, just finding his feet in the Clio, but in the Cooper S. No change at the front. It's still Coates from Davies, from Edwards. Oh, and there's a big off-track moment there from Perry. That's given Gamston a little bit of breathing space. And it's given Nick Horn the chance to get right up behind Jason Perry. Right up behind and almost alongside Nick Horn. A little bit of a kiss there. Oh, but he's deep. He's deep. That's going to have cost him. Both of these guys really wanting now to just try and hook up and get onto the back of John, who's still our front-running front-wheel drive. Sam Coates, 2.6 seconds. Penultimate lap. It's turning into a flawless evening for Sam Coates. It's not over till it's over. And it looks like John Gamston is going to get the better of Jason Perry. But can the little upstart, David and Goliath here, John Gamston is honing in on Martin Sine. Martin's, look at that use of the track. That is how you use as much road as possible. Martin Sine really showing us all where the racing line is. Aggressive use of the curb, right out to the wall. 1:22.1 for Martin. Look at him there, trying to break the slipstream of the DS3 of John. And Edwards has got back in front of Davies. As we enter the last lap now. Martin hoping to hold on to this, and I think he just might. Martin, a fantastically quick driver in the MX5 Championship before, but that's a small mistake and a little bit of contact. Gamston looking for any opportunity to sneak that little Citroen underneath the Clio. Edwards now second. Jason Perry just having a front row seat to the battle in front with John Gamston and Martin Sine. Well, I think it's going to be Sine that's going to get the better of Gamston here, as your leader Sam Coates takes another victory this evening. A faultless performance from Jack Edwards and Luke Davies, redeeming himself in the final round. And it's going to be John Gamston is going to take 4th place from Martin Sine. I wonder if there was any contact that played into John's hands there. I hope it was nice and clean and all very gentlemanly. So let's take a look at the final positions. Sam Coates, another flawless drive, quite frankly. 2.3 seconds in front of Jack Edwards. Luke Davies and John Gamston, 3rd and 4th. Martin Sine, great to see him back in the driving seat this week. Is a well-deserved 5th for the first time back, having missed. He missed last week, and he's obviously missed 2 rounds this week. Jason Perry in the Focus ST, 6th position, and Nick Horn, again, not performed quite like we've seen him perform before, but a much improvement over Spa, so I think he'd be fairly happy with that. And then it's Large, Andreas, and Richard K down in 10th position. So that was our largest field. Martin Sign joining us to make that the largest field of the evening. Thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. We had a small technical difficulty just before the start of first practice with a significant thunderstorm which caused 2 power cuts in my local area, but thankfully we got back up and running for the first qualifying of round 7. Please do join us next week, where we will be doing the final 3 rounds, 10, 11 and 12 of Season 2 of the Team Horney Racing GT Sport Hot Hatch Championship.